Where's my giant robot? The one I always wanted when I grew up. Where's my giant robot? Where's my giant robot? The one I always wanted when I grew up. Hi everybody, Marc with a C here. I got some records in the mail and I want to open them with you. That's right, every week it's kind of like Christmas here, opening up a package and sharing the joy with you. If you've never watched the series before, my name is Marc with a C. I'm an independent musician. I've put out some vinyl records in my day. Some of them are even good. But I've also been rambling a lot on these unboxing videos. The last one was like 15 minutes and I'm just like, nobody has 15 minutes to just watch me talk about what I'm opening. So today, in the interest of efficiency, we're going to try to just open these suckers right up. Alright, so the first one. There's no return address. So, it is the new 7-inch single, and that might be hard to see here, but that's Robyn Hitchcock and Emma Swift. The new single's called Love is a Drag, with the B-side, Life has Changed. Robyn Hitchcock, of course, oh my god, where do you even start with Robyn Hitchcock? He was in the band of Soft Boys, one of my very favorite post-punk outfits of all time. Then he went into a really interesting solo career, really showed his Syd Barrett roots. Now he's kind of on this folk kick. And pretty much wherever Robyn goes, there will be Emma Swift as well. So why not start singing and making records together? And I believe that this is sort of the first. I mean, they've done other ones before, but I believe this is kind of the first of many. I think that when Robyn gives us another album, you're going to see a lot more Emma Swift on it. The last Robyn Hitchcock album as of this taping was called The Man Upstairs, and it's beautiful. It's just Robyn's guitar, Robyn's voice, and it's wonderful. It really fills the room. It was recorded and produced by Joe Boyd. Really fantastic stuff, and this is a pretty melancholy single, but I think, I don't let melancholy scare you. I mean, right now, it's still 2016 as I say this, and melancholy is certainly kind of the order of the day, but we gotta unbox this sucker so that you can see it, and that sleeve really doesn't want to come out. There you go, from Tiny Ghost Records. This is straight up black, 7-inch single, small hole. Oops. Well, that almost ended poorly. And there's the label telling you what you're going to hear. There's also a download code inside for me, but I would say, as with most Robyn Hitchcock singles, don't sleep on it. It probably won't be available forever. We'll work on that in just a second. Alright, got a bigger box here, and I know what's in this, and it's going to be probably 2 items, if my spidey senses are tingling properly, and sometimes they are. One of which I've wanted for a very long time, and one I didn't know existed until recently. Hey, I can see already. That's exactly what I thought it was. So, let's go ahead and finish opening the box, and I'll tell you first about the one that I only learned about recently. Unfortunately, it is taped to the other record, so this is going to take some doing. Alright, this is a 7-inch single that was out on Motorway Records, a Japanese label. The 7-inch is called In and Out of Love, and it has groups like Beanpole, Bell, and try to say this, the Seashell Sea. But the important part here is that it's got a group called Nerdy Girl, and Nerdy Girl was one of my very favorite independent groups of the 90s. The front lady of the group was, well, you'd know her now as Cecil Castellucci. She's a renowned children's, well, not children's, young adult author, and she's fantastic at what she does. Back then, she was Cecil Seaskull, and Nerdy Girl did a 10-inch called Nerdy Girl. They did 2 7-inches, one was called Dime Store Hussy, the other was called New Jersey, and a fantastic full-length record called Twist Her. And information's pretty scarce. I mean, Cecil's still out there, and I presume that if you hit her up on Twitter, she'll talk to you about the olden days, but you know, she's really focusing on the graphic novels and the books that she's writing. But this was, this contains a Nerdy Girl song that I didn't own, called Horse, so I absolutely had to have it the second I learned that it exists. And if there's any Nerdy Girl material out there that I don't know of, that I didn't just list, you've got to drop everything and you've got to tell me. Seriously, I got a problem, and that problem can only be fixed by having all of the Nerdy Girl material out there. And finally, the last record that I'm unboxing today is the soundtrack to Deep Throat 2. That's right. Okay, so how do I do this in a work-safe manner? Deep Throat is a famous pornographic film. Porn's
tend to have pretty awesome soundtracks when you get down to it, and the classic Deep Throat is no exception. The difference between Deep Throat and the music that you might hear in other porn films is that Deep Throat has lyrics that describes the action on the screen really vividly and kind of comically. Now the sequel doesn't have any hardcore sex in it. Instead, it's got like these Russian spy overtones, and it's a little bit more slapstick, but the music is just kind of straight up like soul and funk. And Light in the Attic, about 10 years ago, released this right here, so we could get it. Unfortunately, a lot of the information on who did what is gone, and it's really hard to find the movie Deep Throat 2, which is really the prequel to Linda Lovelace for President. An album that I don't foresee a soundtrack ever appearing for, but I don't know that it really needs one. Linda Lovelace for President, depending on which cut you see, if you see the R cut, it's just it's got a little bit of nudity, but it's really just kind of a comedy that shouldn't exist. It's so wrong, it's right. But emphasis on wrong. Deep Throat 2 is unfortunately just kind of uninteresting. Like, it takes some of the themes from Deep Throat, carries them on, but with a very half-baked script. And I know, I'm sitting here talking to about something that people would watch, going, well, hey, I want to get my rocks off, where's the porn? And I'm going, where's the script? Because Deep Throat had let's face it, kind of funny and interesting plot. And Deep Throat 2, surprise, a porn without any porn just wasn't all that great. But the soundtrack was. There's the, let's make sure there's no nudity in this before I show it to you. No, we're good. There's a gatefold on, with some information about the movie, presumably the soundtrack. I have not read it all yet. Back cover. And opening it up, we have, oh cool, a really neat, this is rad. We get a poster of the cover, which goes like that. And the LP itself, plain white inner sleeve and red wax. I will tell you, if you're looking to find the soundtrack to the original Deep Throat, first of all, the original versions of it they're impossible. You're not going to find it, and if you do, you're not going to spend under 4 digits to get it. If you get the Light in the Attic reissue of the soundtrack, the original soundtrack to Deep Throat, not this one. This one sounds really good. I've heard digital versions of it to verify that I'm getting something decent. The Light in the Attic pressing of the original Deep Throat soundtrack sounds like crap, but it's actually the best that we have. It sounds far better than what you would hear in the movie, and they did their very best to restore it, but it's not perfect, and I don't know that anything could make it perfect. Those original session tapes were seized by the US government when they were raiding everything involved with Deep Throat, and it's really sad because some pretty interesting music from the early 70s was lost and presumably destroyed by the FBI. Sad, but we've got the soundtrack to Deep Throat 2, and it's just a cool funk record. Like, throw it on, and you're like, yeah, I don't even need to see this movie. Honestly, the music's the best thing about it. So I've been Marc with a C. You've been fantastic. I want to thank Get It On Vinyl for hosting this column, and if you'd like to support what I do, please go to patreon.com/MarcWithACmusic. Every time I make some music, I'll probably let you know about it before anybody else, and I've also brought back my podcast, The Real Congregation, which is exclusive to subscribers of my Patreon. So I'm going to go listen to these records, and I hope you have a fantastic week.